know. Even just being outside for like 5 minutes. I can't take it. It's too heat.
Everybody looks cute today.
So do you. I think there's pants.
I'm not ready right before I came. Mary's out of school just this week. They have summer break, so they're working from home.
Fun with a child.
I know. Well, thank goodness it's only 1 week from her school.
Yeah.
The Montessori school stays.
Is she at Cypress Point or Montessori Maine?
Montessori me.
Yeah, mom went to, well, it was University of Montessori with that. That's what I like so much about them, that they're open year round.
Yeah.
It's a struggle right now.
This dress makes me think of the dress I had at the store the other night.
This is from Target, so it'll probably fall apart in like a week.
No, probably not. I took a picture. No, that ended yesterday.
I need to go look at this before the sale.
Oh, we did have a Liverpool trunk show though. You can, if you buy Liverpool while we have it, you probably need to try it. Let me see if I can find it.
Hi, I'm good. How about you?
One order of it finally came in after being on order since February.
That's insane.
Basically, they sent me this, oh, I don't know. They sent me this email about the minimums you have to maintain to remain a Newton dealer. And I'm like, which is not a problem because I have 3 times that on
Right.
order. But, I'm like, if you don't ever ship it,
Right, how can I not, right?
how is
How
that?
can I, yeah, how does that work? Anybody, Matt?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Here's a fancy mint.
Yeah. We can get started.
Okay. Calling meeting to order Wednesday, June 21st, 2023, 5:30 PM. The Hammond City Council chambers.
Todd DeLon. John Exnicius.
Here.
Elizabeth Hollywood. Here. Chelsea Kesnick. Kaylee Norton. Cassie Reagan.
Here.
Evan Singer.
Here.
Old business, approval of the May 2023 financial report. Evan.
This is a new format that, Michelle and I kind of worked on. It's still kind of open for any suggestions or edits. We're just trying to make things more, or easier for everyone to read and understand, to have more participation in the financials. But, the data itself, Michelle, is there anything we need to cover in terms of the actual numbers?
This is just basically 11 months. So our next report will be the end of the fiscal year. So you can kind of see kind of where our numbers are sitting towards the end of the fiscal year. No real big changes. I think the only thing that is different is that we removed some of those old accounts that were in here, like a Habitat Green Tree account. We just kind of removed some of those from last time, just so it was cleaned up a little bit more. And then once we have our upcoming budget be effective starting in July, we'll see the account names kind of shift around a little bit, but overall, everything will kind of will be in the same place if you know where you're looking for certain information.
I make a motion we approve financials.
Second.
Todd DeLon, John Exnicius,
Yes.
Elizabeth Hollywood,
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick, Kaylee Norton,
Yes.
Cassie Reagan,
Yes.
Evan Singer.
Yes.
Approval of the meeting minutes from May 17, 2023.
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
Todd DeLon, John Exnicius,
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Elizabeth Hollywood,
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick, Kaylee Norton,
Yes.
Cassie Reagan,
Yes.
Evan Singer.
Yes.
Fiscal year 2024 budget.
So just wanted to provide an update. Beginning of June, I presented the budget to the city council in a work session and just kind of provided them some of the high notes and our sidewalk improvement budget line item and our fund allotment for the Hammond welcome sign. And just kind of, we talked about those partnerships a little bit, and then overall, they didn't really have too many questions, but the budget will be officially approved at the upcoming city council meeting. I believe it's next Tuesday, the 27th, as a part of all the city budget approvals, and then that budget will be effective July 1st. Just a little bit of update there, of how the process kind of works.
Okay. Next on the list, discussion of the DDD loan program and application.
So we did talk about this last time, and with some revisions, and basically this application that's here now just reflects the, basically the interest rates that we discussed at our last meeting for the different loan types. So I know we had some additional discussion, and not necessarily maybe looking for approval for this, but it's kind of like a working item that we're kind of revisiting. Evan and I haven't really had time to touch base between our now and our last meeting, but this application does reflect the adjusted interest rates from our last meeting.
Yeah, and I guess these were, we talked for a long time about interest rates. I just wanted to, I think that these rates will only apply to new loans in the future, right? This doesn't apply to existing loans we have. And in the existing policy, I don't know how this is the case, but some of these loan types didn't have a rate at all in existing loan policy, but the loans were still being done at like the real estate rate, even though real estate wasn't quite.
Right.
So we're just trying to clean things up. And I think these are the rates that we kind of discussed last, which I think matches the existing FF&E rate and the existing real estate rate. And I think the unsecured rate was just undefined
Right.
previously. So but this is sort of like the financials. We just want to make this information easier to understand and digest for the people that want to get a loan. We just want to make it easier and faster. And so
Yeah.
any suggestions or whatever, I'm totally open to, because we just want maximum participation from
Yeah.
the people in our area.
And transparent application process for anybody, yeah, absolutely.
I think the prior one we had was like, I'm being facetious, but like 300 pages, and like, we're just like, let's just make it really small, and that's what
I
we
think
need.
we kind of just condensed things a little bit, and I think the formatting was the biggest part of it. And I would say the only lingering item that I think I still have some questions on is just this USDA compliance piece. You know, I think kind of a few months ago, Evan spoke with Eric previously, one of our previous finance chair, and just trying to understand really what our obligation is to the USDA, since I believe that's where the seed funds kind of came from, the Start Our Loan Fund program. And I don't know if we've quite uncovered that.
Go to the bottom of it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had to report to them since 2016. So it's not like they're asking for an annual report or, you know, a statement or anything from us. We're not having to report to them annually. So I think that's just one thing we're gonna have to take a little bit more time to see if we need to really follow this agreement form we have listed here. And then we have the other USDA compliance items, and I think some components in our application were also related to some of those issues. So yeah, just kind of taking a look at those.
The group that oversees this is in Alexandria. If you want to connect with me next week, we can set up a call with the lady that oversees this program and just get her take on what we need to do.
Okay.
All right. New business, the Railroad Park.
Let's see here. Okay, so in your packet, we have come a very long way with this history exhibit project. I feel like it's something that we've been talking about for over a year at this point, and I have basically written a dissertation on the history of Hammond for whatever reason. We've worked a lot with our work group, and they've all participated, but it kind of really took one person to go in and make sure that everything was kind of accurate and things kind of flowed. And we were really telling a story with these. So what you have in your packet, did you print all these for everyone? Yeah. So if you had a chance to read them, I did send them to the design committee to review. Our historians, Dr. Hyde, Dr. Nichols has read them, even sent this to some of our DDD residents that were interested in the project. This is kind of where our final narratives are sitting, and we've handed off this at this stage to Antoine Marketing and Design. Roy and I met with them last week so that they can kind of give us an idea about how much is actually going to fit on the size panel with a readable font size. And so he was trying to get us a rendering for today's meeting, but Eddie just didn't have time to do that. So at our next meeting is when we'll get to see all of those rendered panels, each of them in their kind of final state, complete with photos. And all the information that we have here is probably more information than will be included. We decided to kind of include everything and then trim back if we have to.
Okay, so this isn't finalized as far as the words.
The words are finalized.
Okay.
But they're just, the only thing is that some of it just may not be
Well,
included.
my only question about the words, and I know maybe it's too late if it is finalized, but like the building to the north served as a city bus depot for years and is now a restaurant. So that could date that plaque. So wouldn't it be better to put
As of.
became a restaurant as of whatever the date is? That way
Yeah.
this doesn't become dated.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
We can kind of run through it, and I'll say it's final in the extent of like we've
The
done
idea.
research
Yeah.
and the scope of the project. So a last read of like grammatical errors, some consistency, those types of things can still happen.
Yeah, I would just hate for it to be dated if something changes as far as the current building use.
Good call.
Yeah, that is.
All right, is there anything else on that?
I mentioned that in July is when we'll do our final approvals for the renderings, and they'll first go to the design committee, the board will see them, the historic district will see them. We'll also, I'm scheduled to be at the Kiwanis meeting and the Rotary meeting, just so that everyone knows that this is happening. And so, you know, they'll kind of be out there. We don't necessarily want to like, oh, here's the final thing, and kind of spoil it for everyone, but just in the effort of this is coming and this is going to be installed in the park, kind of covering our bases there. So July will be our final approval time. It'll be a glorious month.
Glorious.
All right, next would be the courtyard furniture options.
Yes. Perhaps I should have put this on our design committee report, because the design committee did look at these furniture options. Let's see here. We just try to put it on 2 pages. We have talked about putting courtyard furniture in the courtyard area of the park, which is by the fountain, the train fountain. And we'd gone kind of around with the idea of bistro furniture, freestanding furniture, a few different options. With thinking about the freestanding furniture, what normally happens is someone has to put those out and bring them back in. And the lightweightness of that kind of furniture, I don't think would be very sustainable for anyone. I do have color versions up here if y'all want to take a look. I think it's black and white in the packet.
This one on the back, that's these little round tables with these umbrellas, is that umbrella fabric?
Hang on.
We weren't looking at doing the round, we were looking at doing the rectangles.
Right.
Okay.
So the design committee looked at all of those that you see there, and their choice was the Gretchen picnic table, which you can see it in color up here. This is from Landscape Forms. It is the same company that we got our benches from in the park. And so the construction of these is, it can be mounted, but what is kind of good about this is that we can still keep it freestanding, and since it's so heavy, we still have some flexibility to move it around, but it's unlikely that it would
Disappear?
Right. This model, the picture doesn't show an umbrella hole, but the price that you see here is for one with an umbrella hole. And those measurements there would mean that we would have 6, I think, that would fit in the park. They had a few different finish options with the tops. This product here is called Polysite, and it was available in a few different colors, but the gray kind of was the best pick, I think, with the design
We
committee.
talked about the lighter color with the heat, because those are right out in the sun.
That's true,
If
yeah.
it was black and you went to sit on it in the middle of the day, you would scorch.
Yeah.
Right.
What, so if you do put an umbrella, that's something that you'd have to take in and out with weather? That would be something that would be on?
Yeah, so we already have been putting umbrellas out in the wooden picnic tables, like over the past couple of weeks, because it's been so hot and customers for the market need some shade.
Okay.
So we've been putting those out during market hours, so we'll probably wind up doing something similar with kind of putting umbrellas out just during market hours. And if we get a umbrella putter outer volunteer, that would be great. But for right now, the umbrellas go up during market hours. The carousel, like I said, the design committee, there's not a whole lot of flexibility with that. That style of umbrellas, though, they're metal, which
No, that's why I was liking the look of that. I was liking that you would never have to fool with it.
Yeah, so we're not quite there yet.
You still have to pick them up when it's windy.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
because it would probably be a hazard.
Yeah.
Let's see. The other option that the design committee did look at, but at that point in time, we didn't have the full rendering available, was from a separate company called Sitescapes, and this is a company that the city gets park furniture from. This is the one at the bottom. They are able to do a fully, the original one kind of didn't have everything connected, as you see here. It was kind of, the bench was separate, the table was separate, and it was required to be mounted, but this option was freestanding. This would be a black ribbon style. It would match the benches that are in there, but it's really just kind of aesthetics. The sizing of these are a little bit bigger, but the pricing is about the same. The Gretchen are $2,600, and then these Sitescape benches are $2,500. We would have to purchase less of the City View picnic tables since they are
Are
larger.
they a lot lower? They look way different. They look, from the rendering, it looks like the seat is like almost like on the ground. Is
They're
that-
not quite like that. Let me.
Okay.
Look,
Oh, maybe I'm looking at the side.
Yeah. It's
It's normal, I guess.
16 inches, so 16, 7/8.
They don't have a full. They
Are
don't have the
those-
freestanding version of the picnic table available, but you can kind of see up here on the computer, on the monitor.
And what material is that? Are those all Metal? Okay, so,
So this is the freestanding version. We would be getting, I'm sorry, this would be the mounted version. We would be getting the freestanding version, which is why everything's connected kind of down here. So it's all one piece.
And then it gets bolted to the ground?
no.
No?
That's what we're saying, that
It's not.
No. We can bolt it to the ground, but with it all being one piece, we wouldn't have to, and we would still have the flexibility of moving it around if we wanted
Okay.
to.
And it's heavy and annoying enough to where nobody would like try and take it?
Basically. I mean, no one's tried to take our picnic tables that are out there right now. I mean, even though they're kind of
That's what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
not the most appealing thing, but we
Okay.
haven't had any issues with that.
Okay. All right, any other comments on that?
do we need to approve it? Approve the purchase?
Yeah, I guess,
What do we have budgeted for this?
so this would be a sponsorship item.
Okay, okay.
So this would be kind of another.
So we'd be able to do plaques with them the same way, or what's the?
So my thinking with these
Mhm.
is, instead of putting plaques on the benches themselves, that we would do some sort of plaque dedication on the wall in the courtyard area, just so that I feel like it would be a little bit more classy to kind of do that. And if, for whatever reason, people are sitting at these, eating, drinking, if the plaque is mounted on the tabletop, it
Yeah.
could just.
Let me ask you this question. Can we, I'm only just throwing this out there. If we get money from somebody for these, can we also maybe just include a year, like whatever that amount, like if we get a normal amount? I don't know, like, it's just like getting overwhelming with all the plaques for everything. Like, is there a way to throw in and add value that if you buy these benches, then you get to market for a year for whatever, or you get to do one free marketing at one of our picnic, you know what I'm saying? I
Like
don't know.
not do a plaque?
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know, I just feel like we're plaquing up everything. Maybe I'm crazy.
I don't,
You don't
I
think it's a
don't,
big
yeah,
deal?
I
Go
don't.
out there.
I don't either.
Okay.
I think it's kind of nice if people feel like they have an ownership in
I think you're
the.
gonna have people who
park.
want to
Mhm.
See it.
donate it
Everlasting.
in memory of, or,
Right.
and, they're not
Okay.
necessarily gonna want our marketing. They're just gonna wanna,
Yeah, you're right.
To plaque or not to plaque?
No, I mean, plaque's fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
And I think too, well, another plaque item that has come up, there was an old plaque that was in the park, and there actually will be another plaque being installed on the brick wall. I'm not gonna bore you with that. But, that's one thing that Lacey and I have kind of discussed, is we don't necessarily want to, because in Kate Square Park, they kind of ran into this issue of everything kind of being memorialized, and it's like, what is this place? Like, are we allowed to be here, kind of? But I think this would be the last, other than buying bricks, I mean, this would be the last opportunity for someone to give us a plaque unless
Plaque it up.
felt like
Yeah.
we wanted to do something else.
Okay. So are we making a motion to approve the design committee's choice of the
I think it's called the Gretchen.
Gretchen?
Yeah.
Okay, and we like the Gretchen better than the City View for a reason? Is there a reason?
Yeah, I
What do
think
you think?
what Cassie said too, what did you say,
I-
the light color and
The light color,
material?
to us, it just looked like it's more user-friendly to the way the slats are on this one compared to the slats on the other one.
Mhm.
Just, putting a drink or even sitting on it with those slats.
Okay,
You're gonna-
okay. Well, I'll
Sun's
make,
beating down on it.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the Gretchen picnic tables.
Todd DeLon, John Exnicius.
Yes.
Elizabeth Hollywood.
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick. Kaylee Norton. Cassie Reagan.
Yes.
Evan Singer.
Yes.
All right, next up to bat is the design committee report. Cassie?
Okay, so the first item is the sidewalk reimbursement program guidelines. So you're going to see the updated application that somebody would fill out if they want to consider doing the sidewalk replacement at their building. We reviewed this with design committee at the beginning of this month. When did we meet?
I think there are past 2 meetings, maybe 3.
Past 2 meetings, but these reflect the changes
Yes.
from the, okay. So we think this kind of, it covers what is not included, it covers what is included. There's kind of a checklist in here, if it's just going to be sidewalk, if it's going to be a ramp, curb, traffic calming measures. So somebody who's on a corner in downtown, and this is something that came up, this was a conversation at the design committee, is, does the owner pay a third of that in the DDD in the city, or maybe is this something that we could approach the city about it being, more on the city and less on everybody else? But we have, I think Michelle got this in the city's hands, but we haven't had a chance to review it or get any comments back. So it's a work in progress, but this is something that at least
Excuse me.
we can put in someone's hands while they're in the design phase of their project. They can go ahead and see, what the possibilities are, where the questions are. It can be presented to design committee during design phase, so we can discuss it. And then when they have their plans, I think, did you make the change on here where they put what the schedule of value is for that?
So I put total renovation cost and total sidewalk cost. I can edit the language.
Okay,
If you want it
so
to say
we will ask, we can tweak that, but, so we want to know, coming in when they present during their design phase, what they think the value is, because they should have that. Whoever they're working with should be able to give them a fairly detailed estimate at that point and give us an idea of what we're looking at. So we know if we're within our budget, if we might be outside of our budget. We're also asking for their time frame on construction, which we'll update regularly, because if you think it's going to start in December, it might really be June. Anyway, but at least this gives us an idea of what we're dealing with. It gives us a general idea of time frame, so we know if we're budgeting for 2023, 24, 25, 26.
Smart.
Yeah, I think so too.
Do you think there's like a maximum, or I guess the one we have was, that was expensive. I mean, if someone does a $300,000,
That's why we're doing this.
okay.
Yeah.
But should we say what our cap is or something?
Well, we talked about that, and we looked at, that one was, okay, that one was different for a lot of reasons. But one thing that we are excluding moving forward is design fees. We will not be paying any design fees on anybody's sidewalk project in the future. And we'll also, we're telling them to base it on the standards that are established in the master plan. So if they go above and beyond, if they decide they want to use more brick, or they want to use a more expensive material or something like that, that part's going to be on them. We're going to pay for what the master plan kind of.
Decided material or whatever.
Yeah. If they want to, if they want to take it further, that's fine, but we're going to base it on what our standard is. So I think that's going to help. We talked about doing a limit, but then we started, there's always, as soon as you say, oh, we're only doing this much, then you're going to have somebody who comes in and maybe buys half a city block, and they've got 3 sidewalks and 2 corners, and that's something that we would love to see happen. And then we've limited ourselves, and we've got to go back and do whatever we need to do to change our limits.
Or, so, I guess, do we have the ability to just decline the project?
I think that we will, I don't know, we don't
Is it up
really
to
say that. I mean, we're not, this is an application, so it's an application for approval, so if you can approve it, you can deny it, right?
Yeah.
Or do you have ability to pay up to a certain amount? Not a third, and third, like what if what if it becomes some big price tag and we say, well, this is within our budget, this is what we can contribute? Is that a possibility, or is that not? Or no?
I think anything is a possibility. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the majority of the sidewalk matches have been in the $8,000 to $15,000 range.
Okay.
So that's normally where we are. Now, with the price of everything going up, we might be more in the 10 to 15 or, it just depends on, is it a corner property? So is it 2 sidewalks and a corner and a traffic calming? So it's,
Yeah, I mean, and it requires like the full process, says presentation to all these, to these committees, to the board, all these submissions, so I think,
we're
lots of
not
office
committing
review. Right.
to this. We're offering it as an opportunity, so, if something crazy happened and we didn't have the funds to do it, we're not committed. We're not saying we're definitely going to do it.
So you can't be in a situation where we gave somebody this, and then somebody else follows all the same guidelines, and we didn't give them that, because we decided our budget's not, do we have, like,
So we put award availability. We say the DD Board of Directors budgets for sidewalk improvements annually. Awards will be made on a first-come, first-served basis that meet eligibility criteria.
So it's first come, first served? Okay.
And the eligibility criteria.
Based on our budget, whatever money's there.
Yeah. And then we
Okay.
have
The good thing about this is we're not going to get one of these the day before construction starts. We're going to get this months and possibly even a year before any of this takes place. So, and even once they go out to bid, the sidewalks are not going to be the first thing they do in the project. So we've got a lot of time to
Make it work.
review it and,
Yeah.
yeah. And we also have to talk to the city because this is a
Yeah.
third. So if the city doesn't, like this, or they want to see something else happen, then we'll certainly have to come back and talk about it. But up to this point, we have not had an application. It's just been, hey, we've always done this in the past, and we'll pay a third of whatever it comes in. So we should know right before they go out to bid. We should have a good idea of what their estimate, like a good estimate of what it's going to be. And then once they take their bids, let's just say their bids are crazy, we may have to reevaluate and say that, we can go off of the estimate, but not off of the, I don't know.
I think the
Throwing it out there.
guidelines and application are there to provide a little bit more structure to the process, and knowing that this is the starting point, basically, to kind of get us a little bit.
But it's still open-ended enough to where we can work with
Right, I think
whatever
it
the
has
case
some
is.
flexibility, so
Yeah.
when we get our first application, we're like, okay, we're gonna go through this process, see how it works, and we may have to revise it. But, and then we may have a few coming up this year. I think, the work that we tried to done to just put it on paper has come a long way. I will say that there are quite a few grammatical errors in here. I don't know, my spell check's probably not working, but, the idea is that it also is just 2 pages front and back. So this third page, that formatting, just to make it super simple. And like Cassie said, we'll get feedback from the city too, just so that any limits or ideas that they have about how this should be structured, we'll incorporate those with however they see fit,
Because they would have to do like a separate agreement with the city too, right? I mean, wouldn't they have?
It has to, yeah. but
the way the
Because we can
agreement.
only, we can only give our DDD money, like they'd
Yeah,
have to do a
the
separate.
way that
yeah.
the agreement works now is it covers the DD and the city. But the agreement is done at the time that the funds are released. So the idea is that we are all getting on the same page before the funds are
Before the-
released.
right.
And that,
Right.
I think there's a way to do it so it covers both of us, but, we would be working on their process too.
Gotcha.
We're just trying to do some
Sure,
of this grunt
right.
work to.
I love it.
Okay, my other question, does this have to come before the Historic Commission at all, as well?
No.
Sidewalks, I don't think sidewalks have to go before a historic
Okay.
commission. So this is, again, this is way more information than we've ever had in the past
Yeah,
with
yeah.
any of these
That's great.
projects. And it may definitely have to, it will have to be tweaked, but this is just hopefully a tool
Yeah.
so we have a better communication process with the owners of these of these properties.
Okay, cool.
Great work.
So do we need to vote on this?
I was kind of thinking that if we feel more comfortable to wait with the city's input and then put it on the July agenda for the board to approve, that could be fine. Or if you feel comfortable with this where it's at, and
Well,
I don't know what,
Is there any
it all-
pending people that you think we need to have this application ready for soon?
not soon.
Okay, then I would say just let's wait till
Yeah,
they
especially-
review. They might want to put their stamp on it, and then we can re-review it and then approve it. Is that good?
Are you okay with that, Michelle? Okay. And so Michelle did the research. She put all the drafts together, and she's done all that. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
This,
Michelle.
Great work.
This is
Getting us
great.
organized. All right, cool. Thank you.
All right. So we had 2 grant applications at the meeting. The first one you have in your packet is 209 East Charles. So that is 1 block west of here. And he basically redid the building. It's subdivided into multiple spaces, but basically redid it, and he is only asking for $2,000 at this point. He's only submitting for, what was it, for the awnings?
So this one's a little confusing. When they initially submitted their application, they had work done at 4 different addresses. So 203, 205, and 207 are one building. 209 is a separate building. Their total request was actually, it wound up being 2 applications, but they submitted 1 application for both of those sets of addresses. Our program only allows to have 1 grant released per tax ID per year. So they have, between each of the buildings, they do meet the criteria for 2 awards, but the only one that we're reviewing right now is the request for 209 East Charles. And so you'll see they easily meet the full grant award if you look at just the awning cost, which is broken out by address. So the awning for 209 was $4,290. And they also, in the, I don't know if you have it here, because it's kind of hard to parse things apart, but they also painted as well, which is an additional cost of $350. So they do meet the full award for the work alone at 209.
So the building, the awning, and I know where they're at over there, but it's a singular building at 209?
Yes, so 209 is
Okay.
one building, and
And the
then
other ones are,
all the other 3 addresses are another building. So the awnings are separate.
okay, so the awning is not, the price of that second awning is not on this?
The total price of the awnings
It's,
was $10,000.
but it's not part of the application. It's on
The
this.
invoice
is
Invoice, but it's not part of, the application is just the 4290.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, it has made that whole block kind of glow up a little bit. It's all bright.
It looks so much better.
Yeah.
It looks so much better.
W
So-
Salon moved over there.
Yep.
Well, Will Frederick, I guess he's kind of like,
He's got his rent in Louisiana over there.
yeah. So it's, that little area is kind of coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will make a motion to approve.
Here it is. Okay. Okay, who first? John?
John,
Kaylee
Kaylee.
second? Okay, perfect. Todd DeLon, John Exnicius,
Yes.
Elizabeth Hollywood.
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick, Kaylee Norton. Cassie Reagan.
Yes.
Evan Singer.
Yes.
Okay, so the second facade grant is for 305 East Charles, which is right across the street to the First Christian Church. And this is for the refinishing of the exterior wood doors on the Reimers Auditorium and on the church. And they are asking for $625.
Do you have photos up here? Before, he was originally submitting for, this application was interesting as well. He was originally submitting for the window glass, but he did not have everything at the time when he submitted the application, so the only thing that we could consider was the door refinishing. On Reimer's Theater, I mean, they're mid-century, beautiful panel doors, so that they were really beaten by the sun. And that's the before. And then the after photo is right here. So it looks a lot better. And they recently got this property as a contributing property on the National Historic Register. They're not in the historic district, but they did have a certificate of appropriateness for the work. And they recently rededicated Reimer's Memorial Theater as a way to revive their efforts to have programming there and kind of be more of an open community space. So there's a lot of great things that they're doing, and getting the facade cleaned up is part of some of the work that they're trying to do. And I've also made them aware of other state grant opportunities for the rehabilitation of the site.
I make a motion, we approve.
Second.
In the amount of
$625.
Todd DeLon. Oh, he's not here, that's right. John Exnicious.
Yes.
Elsbeth Hollywood.
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick. Kaylee Norton. Cassie Reagan.
Yes.
Evan Singer.
Yes.
Next is the event committees report.
So, Chelsea is not here with us tonight, but this Hot August stroll has come a long way, and we are, I'm going to go ahead and show you all the website, I think. We've included the poster, the press release, and the updated, kind of like our updated internal map. This isn't something that we're putting out to the public. But you can kind of see all those things in your packet. The website is not live, to the public, but I figured we would just kind of take a moment to look at it together before we launch tomorrow. So basically our process is we been working a lot with our graphic design intern. Chelsea has been really involved with kind of selecting the elements and kind of getting things together for the revamp of Hot August Night to be Hot August Stroll. And I feel like last time we met, we were still calling it Hot August Night. The name change kind of happened as a result of a merchant meeting that we hosted at the end of May. And I think overwhelmingly the people who were there thought that the Saturday idea, they were positive about that, and felt like a name change was kind of merited with kind of all the changes that we had. So we have kind of gone with that and incorporated stroll into the concept for a Saturday event. And I guess if anyone's watching our public meeting right now, they're getting a sneak peek of everything that will be launched tomorrow. But everything kind of in the press release is what we have scheduled. The poster has accurate times with items that we have scheduled as well. And all that's kind of reflected in our website update with our event schedule. I guess the items that I feel like I'm still a little bit confused on are the opportunities for I guess, food trucks, food vendors, and right now, like, we have not developed an application for outside food vendors. I know that we've talked about just assessing and kind of, I guess the way I phrased it on the website is, at this time, please note there are limited food and drink vending opportunities. The DDD is sourcing vendors on an outreach basis and is not accepting applications for outside vendors for a Hot August stroll.
Okay, so I have a thought.
Okay.
And it might be too late that I'm bringing this to, but now, of course, I'm thinking about it. The dining downtown is from 2 to 4, which seems to be kind of a, like, Wouldn't that be more of a lunchtime, 12 to 2 thing?
Yeah,
It's 12, I thought you said 12 to 12.
It says 2 to 4, and then the farmer's market got pushed up from 12 to 2 rather than be the normal 9 to 12?
No,
no,
the farmer's market is 8 to 12.
Why does it say 12
Dine
to 2?
downtown is
Oh,
12 to 12.
I got it backwards.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was looking at the time.
Dine downtown should be all the way, like,
12 to 7?
12 to whenever restaurants close.
so this is, I guess, I'm glad we're discussing this, because when we were trying, Chelsea and I were trying to figure out, like, how do we put times on things? We had discussed the 2 to 4 portion of the day, and we knew that it was going to be too hot to have, like, too much going on, so we were really going to try to push people to have lunch downtown, so maybe we can just call it something different, but have lunch downtown. And then some feedback that we got from the merchant meeting was that some of the retail people felt a little left out and wanted to see something, I guess, particular for retail during that time. So our thought with that feedback was that 2 to 4 section, we could promote it specially for lunch from 12 to 2, and then shopping stroll from 2 to 4, since people are going to be needing air conditioning anyway. But we can say that although this is our targeted window for this, our shops are open normal hours, or we can, I don't want to give the impression that your only time to dine is from noon to 2. I don't want to do that. And if this is what that's doing, then I'm totally open to changing it. We were just trying to figure out how to best, I guess, program that time slot, and that's what we came up with.
I think that's confusing. And I think restaurants that are open before noon are going to be like,
You know what I think? Maybe just as a general statement somewhere, like remove this dine downtown thing. Not remove it, but maybe just say there'll be, you know, are these restaurants providing any type of like specials? Like daytime specials, like happy hour, or, you know, like a, because if they are, we can just make a general statement that downtown dining specials all day are, you know, like something.
well, I mean, for that fact, I mean, we're open from 10 to 5 on Saturdays. So we have a shopping stroll from 2 to 4. That kind of,
Yeah, maybe more of a general
Kinda-
statement of,
yeah. I mean, I don't want everybody to show up to shop
On one
2-hour time period. I would rather them shop all day.
What if we
Right.
take out like, I mean, I don't think we necessarily have to make sure that everything is scheduled. Like, you just take out the dine downtown and shopping stroll and just have the things that are actually scheduled, the farmer's market, the Lion
Yeah.
Palooza, and the wine and cheese stroll. And then if we
We
feel
talked
like
about
we
that
need
too.
to, okay.
The concern from some of the merchants was it felt dead during that time, and so people would, I guess, what they wanted to see was something that actually showed like something happening at every.
okay, then you know what? I would say, at least for the dine part, we need to get, is there a way of getting everybody on the same page and giving an hour of, like, you can dine all day long, but just like there's a happy hour from 5 to 3 to 5 or whatever, that people get cheaper drinks, is there something that can be promoted that everybody across the board can say they have a happy hour, they have a
hot August.
August stroll special from 2 to 4, or,
I think that's making it really
It
complicated.
is making it complicated?
Yeah,
Okay.
because you have restaurants that are open at different times. I mean, think about, Yellowbird,
Yeah, they're open at like 8. yeah.
right? You have Son of a Biscuit, they're open at different hours.
yeah, okay.
You have,
Would be to do, first of all, reach out to the merchants, give everyone an opportunity to give, with a date, a due date of what specials they're gonna be running for that day, so that you guys can have a list on the website or somewhere that says, this is what's going on in each place.
Yeah.
But then just maybe all day long.
Dining specials
check out
all day
the
long.
dining and, specials at our shops, and then it can link to a page where you list the shops and you list the
Yeah.
dining places.
Yeah, we already have that built in. So like our merchant advertising application gets all the information from them. So like every year we do that, and we, anyway, I'm not gonna go ahead and show you all that. But yeah, we already have our application. That will be what they fill out with giving us everything that they're, so that we can promote them and whatever their Hot August plans are.
I would just maybe put under dine and shopping all day.
Okay.
And put an asterisk by it, and underneath it say, rest,
Specials. all day.
hours depend on, each store, whatever. But I would just make it all day. I wouldn't, I just think it's confusing.
So did y'all had a merchant committees meeting, and they were, like, that's when the merchants expressed concern that there wasn't like.
Yeah, I mean, most of them agreed that
merchant-centric? Okay.
naturally people are going to eat lunch from noon to 2 anyway. So it just kind of was something that came up as, it's not necessarily we're programming something, we're just promoting something that would already be happening, so that if however someone decides to start their day, we're still telling them that noon to 4 is not a dead time or nothing's happening, so to speak. But, and then the retail kind of folks kind of said the 2 to 4 thing. But, I mean, I agree, the more that I look at it,
Yeah.
I kind of struggled with seeing, we don't want to give the wrong impression, obviously,
Right.
that this is their only time to eat or shop.
Well, the other thing is too, and I don't know who was at the meeting, some retail closes
Early.
at noon or 2. So I don't know who all this covers. I know we stay open later than anybody. So I just want to make sure if we say 2 to 4, that
Places are open.
places are open
Right.
other than 1, then people will be disappointed.
Yeah, so we are saying all day then. We're just gonna say all day shopping and eating, specials to be had all day or something, like just a general statement.
Or don't list it.
Or don't list it at all.
I think it should say all day long, check out our shops and dining, for exclusive, hot August stroll specials and extended or for specific hours and specials, check each
Business, right.
Yeah, with a link to the page
Yeah.
that you're saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, it should be the due diligence of the business to submit what
They wanna
they're
do.
doing, if they
Right.
want to promote
Right.
it, and then,
And then we'll market it for it, help market them for it. I agree to that.
Okay, so we'll make those changes on the poster, and we'll have that reflected
Okay,
on the schedule.
so this is how I feel about food trucks, since that was the other thing, right?
We can do that next, yeah.
Okay, so I believe that we should be able to do food trucks, and I'm not even opposed in my head, I'm sure I'm not even opposed to like beer trucks and stuff like that in a limited environment. And and where I think it should be, would be during band time around the park, where it's convenient for somebody to get a drink or get a piece of pizza and watch the band, rather than having to walk 3 blocks. So maybe limit it to a certain time frame that they open up, maybe during the band, and just, in an area that makes sense, that's not necessarily combative competing. Because I know when I'm lucky that I live across the park and can get a drink from my house, but if I'm into the band and I'm up front stage, I'm not wanting to have to walk to La Carreta to go get a margarita. Like, it'd be nice to have beer or, what's that?
It's a block.
Yeah, but I'm missing my spot up front, man. I'm wanting to be.
The festival, so yeah.
Opposition, all of the restaurants and bars seem to say that they can't support the influx of people, but they didn't want any food trucks.
Yeah, I think it's one thing to have it parked in front of an establishment. I think placement is important, and I think, if you go to any festival in the country that is successful,
This is not a festival. This is celebrating the downtown and the downtown merchants and business owners who pay.
I agree.
Well,
to
we
be
welcome
here.
other downtown businesses as long as they don't serve food or drinks, so I don't think that.
Are we having other vendors? Well, I guess the farms. It's the farm.
And
We're not having vendors.
No, it's just the market that's happening
Yeah, it's just
in
the market,
morning.
yeah.
There's no other vendor, on the map, we'll have space for our district businesses that want to be a wine and cheese stop that aren't within walking distance. They'll be able to set up with a tent. Our nonprofits that want to set up with a tent. sponsors, otherwise, like community organizations, but we're not selling vendor spaces.
Well, the other question is, do any of these, if we offered an opportunity to any of these restaurants to do a pop-up booth, if they have the ability to, if they would enjoy doing that, to be closer to the stage, or to be able to service more of a grab-and-go type of food, if we give that offer first? I mean, but to me, whatever we call it, it's not just about the money that comes that night, it's about the money that comes throughout the year. This is an opportunity to showcase the town and what's all there. And I think part of that has to be, there has to be some conveniences when you're watching the band, or whatever, you know, areas where they don't have like an easy grab and go thing. And I am a drinker, so I participate in the craziness. And I'll tell you, those I don't think they're gonna lose money regardless. They are packed. You know, so I can't imagine if we do it with a limitation. I just think we need to, I think it's a little bit closed off to say none at all. I think it can be done wisely.
Well, so I
you know,
think-
and-
I know
Katie?
I never talk at these things. Hi. Wasn't it discussed that the downtown restaurants would have, or bars, I guess, would have like a first come, first serve, like if tacos and beer, like they have a food truck and Steakhouse has a food truck, they're given the opportunity first. And then if they can't, or if we're sparse with that supply, then we'll invite outside vendors?
Right.
Wasn't that something we discussed?
Even
Yeah.
if they don't even necessarily would have to have a food truck, as long as if they
set up.
wanted an opportunity to serve at a whatever.
Right.
type of- They would just have to set up
their stuff under a tent or whatever.
So that's why, for our purposes of advertising, in the past, what we've done is we had a whole vendor packet. It was open to the public. Any person could apply. They registered, they gave us money. This statement basically says that we are handpicking any outside food or drink vendors so that we don't have, like, it's not going to be open to anyone. I'm not putting together basically a packet or a process for someone to apply. We are
I agree with that.
hand selecting basically who the vendors will be. I think I see both sides of the coin, you know, I think there needs to be conveniences that are there, but I don't think we need to put out, and knowing what our past processes were, the way that we did it was we put out, if you're a food truck, fill out this application, but I don't think we should do it that way. I think it's kind of handled more internally. We bring in the vendors that we want to bring in, and this statement, that's what I was trying to do with this statement, covering those bases, because people will call us all the time like, let me know when the vendor application's ready for Hot August, and it's like, well, sorry, like, your, you know, popcorn stand and your jewelry business and whoever, you know, we don't have vending opportunities.
Well, I don't think we need to market it, but if they do call
Right.
and say they want to be, you can take note of that, and we can look at it and say, hey, would that be a good idea to have them? I mean, that's on them to sell themselves, but yeah, I think we should I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But I guess, if you don't have some sort of application, how are you going to select 20 or 12 or whatever food trucks?
Well, I don't think we're gonna get that many.
We didn't have that many, I don't think we had that many.
We had like 10 last time, but between the businesses that I know that have food trucks, which would be 3, maybe, that we would have 3, you know, other not full-on food, they don't do full-on food, but it's snowballs or other treats or beverages. I already know, like, Ashley with the Rhine, like, they have a snowball truck, so it's like they're a downtown business, we're gonna hand select those people first, and then maybe sometime in July, when we're like, okay, this is how people we have lined up, we've kind of done that. If we see that we have a gap, I mean, it would be chaos to put that out there to
This-
the public, so I think we're just hand selecting.
Well, can I ask a question? So if your example, Ashley with the snowball truck, is she gonna pay for her space, or does she get that as a free opportunity? And there's somebody who's not currently operating a business in the DDD, and we do decide to select them, is it a pay? They pay to do it?
I mean, Ashley has paid in the past to participate, but whatever you all feel is best. Basically, we did not calculate a revenue source from vending spaces this year because we were not selling vending spaces this year.
Okay, because maybe a thought would be, the way to handle it is that it's limited, you know, well, that you could offer, if we want to collect from Ashley, maybe offer it, but at a discounted price, whereas somebody outside the district has to pay a different price to be a vendor that night,
Yeah.
if we're gonna accept that.
Right, but
I mean,
even
I don't know.
feasibly, I'm thinking we would only have 2 or 3 outside vendor food trucks.
Okay.
So I think it would just be chaos to put that out to say, oh, anyone apply, because we're gonna have 20, 25 food trucks applying.
You answered my question. It just wasn't clear, I guess, if you're going to have a selection process, I wasn't sure how you would do that without, but you've answered it.
Yeah, wait, let me ask you this question, and this is just me trying to make money for us. What about, and I'm just saying, if you decided to put it out, what about raising the price on to enter? Because then that could limit the amount of entries. Or that would hurt us, because then if we wanted snowballs, a snowball's not gonna make as much as I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Don't listen to me.
I said that last month. To increase the price.
Because it's supply and demand, like if you raise the price, it's gonna make less people wanna do it. But we can
I'm
still
not in
make money.
favor of putting out an application for anyone to
Okay,
apply to be
I
a
got
food vendor.
Just from dealing with it standpoint.
I just feel like that is gonna add so much more work to us, and we just need to be very clear that outside vending opportunity, that we don't have a process for that, we're not doing that this year. If we have any outside vendors, we're
Okay.
selecting them, we're working with our downtown businesses first. Like I said, in the realistic sense, reality, I think the house would work out. We may need 2 or 3 food trucks, but, I mean, we already know the ones that kind of set up at North, we already know the ones that are more local, that are not directly in downtown. So-
Yeah, and I'll defer to you, Michelle, on that, truly. And again, I'm just gonna say, I have no problem with any businesses that have a brick and mortar, that are a DDD business, having a food truck. But I remember the chaos of last year, and I do not think that we should have outside food trucks.
I don't think we
That's just
should
my-
either.
That's just my opinion.
But look, I also want to throw out there that in the past, Hot August has been from 5 PM to 9. We're making this all day. So you may have people who come out earlier or even in the middle of the day, and they go home and they're not there. So we may not have the crowd that night that we normally do. So the restaurants may be able to handle more business. And part of the reason of spreading this out was to make it so restaurants more than bars, because bars aren't open as long, but maybe they will open at noon that day, but to extend the time that they have to bring people in and feed them or serve them, rather than making it just this few hours where they're going to max it out, but they can't go beyond that. They only have so many tables they can turn, they only have so many people in there working. So if you give them more hours, then they have an opportunity to bring more people in and make more money. So I just, remember that. We're trying to get away from 10,000 or however many people it is landing on downtown in
At
a,
the same time.
3-hour time period.
I think you have some, it's August in the middle of the day. I think you have some protection. Like I know people that they're not going to go downtown at 4 o'clock on August 26th. There's not.
And I just think from a convenience standpoint, around the band and stuff, we need to have some grab-and-go type stuff, even if it's popcorn and, and a beer, I just, in my head, but.
Yeah, we have 2 kids. We're not going to go wait 2 hours to go in a restaurant. And I love Hammond or restaurant, whatever, but it's just, there's just a basic convenience thing that, but I agree with John, but I also understand, if someone's like, hey, I have a brick and mortar business here, I paid this, I get that. So if there's some sort of financial offset to say, if you have a food truck that's not a brick and mortar, you pay X, and someone who has those things pays Y. I'm totally for that, but to say that there's no food trucks would just be,
Limiting.
yeah,
I agree that we need to offer something.
Yeah.
Beverages, I think most importantly, because it is so hot. And I think that in terms of hosting the event, it would not be wise on us to not have something out there. That's my personal opinion, and the way that I've kind of described how I think that we should approach it. I would, I guess, appreciate support in trying that out. And like I said, working with our brick and mortar businesses first to see if they want to do a pop-up or they want to bring out a food truck. And then the very, very limited amount of outside that I think that we would need. I mean, I think we probably could cover all of our bases with the people who I know are already in the district. So it may only, like I said, be 2 or 3 outside. And we just have a contract with them where, you know, they do pay, and we don't give it to them for like $100, but like it's commensurate with
Yeah.
what we're doing as a part of the event. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of my take on it.
So I'm just letting you know, from my thoughts, like around the park, I would love to see us at least serve beer and water and things that I can get a drink quickly. You know, that's just in my brain. I think other people would
Well, I'll
appreciate
see
that.
if Benny's, you know, they want to do a larger setup than they normally do. You know,
Can
Tina's
get some
always,
kegs out there or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's allowed, but
yeah. What do I have?
I think you hit the nut. I mean, give brick and mortar, give them the opportunity first and say, hey, by whatever day, if you want to do it, you have first come, and you don't have to pay anything. It's free for you to set up. Sell as much as you want. After that day, we open it up to whatever, another 5 people, whatever the group thinks, but to more people who pay, $1,000 or some, some fee to set up.
But my question is, do we have planned placement on where those places we would want them to even start with that conversation?
So both the 100 block and the 200 block of West Charles is designated for pop-up tents for businesses. Like I said, ones that,
Okay, on that.
if they're participating in the wine and cheese stroll, they aren't in walking
It's in front
distance,
of, Kate
that's where
Square,
those folks
right
would be
here.
located. Some of our nonprofits that participate in the event, like the Snowball trailer, that's where I was thinking that would go. You know, that's where that would be.
Okay.
The DDD tent, you know, some of our sponsors, that's where kind of all that would be, because I think we need to keep the park itself really open to host as many people as possible. So that's kind of the thinking there.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a question. It might be silly, but I'm just curious. So like, it sounds like we would offer something to like the internal downtown development, you know, businesses as far as food and beverages go, and then from there, food trucks, right? Is that what we kind of just established? Because I was wondering if like, if for some reason we couldn't meet, you know, couldn't get what we needed as far as like finding vendors to be out at the park, food truck wise, tabling wise, whatever. I mean, could we then just go outside the district and still at least get a Hammond business? That even though they're not in the district, it's still promoting a Hammond business, and then after that, food trucks, like that?
Yeah, I think there's like a process that we can kind of take. I think the tabling setup is always something, you know, for a business to do a pop-up tent always winds up being more challenging than I think that they really realize what it's going to be. And truthfully, I mean, we have power located on the 200 block of West Charles, but we will not have a whole lot of power located on the 100 block. So, you know, a truck situation, something that's a little bit more self-contained, is what's going to work better in that space. But yeah, I think as long as we're approaching it thoughtfully and not just putting it out so that anyone can do it, we're kind of taking that process of focusing on district businesses, Hammond businesses, that they are still local businesses, and we're still maybe providing some offerings that aren't always in downtown, but it's meeting an increased need for people who are here.
So art tents, who's handling that? Like,
So that is, I don't know if we'll actually have artists set up, but the art center is, part of our applications, we're going to be pairing businesses who are interested. They can pair those businesses with local artists if that's something that they want. And so potentially those folks some of those folks may be out there, but really what I see here, like I said, are pop-up businesses that are doing the wine and cheese stroll, that aren't in walking distance. This is where they would be set up so that they can participate in that. Would be our nonprofits in the area that usually participate in the event, like our DDD tent, sponsor tents. It would, and then like the food trucks and trailers. It wouldn't be a shopping area,
it's not shopping, okay.
right? Unless we do have 1 or 2 artists that are out there, but the other activities are kind of happening down the block, La Coretta, they're kind of, I still need to touch base with Mary just to see what their firmed up plans are. But they always do, expanded seating, they have their own stage, and then Louisiana Children's Discovery Center is kind of taking over that 100 block of East Charles, and, well, I think we have representatives here from the Discovery Center, so I don't know what quite firmed up plans y'all have, but,
There'll be a fire truck out there that kids can climb in, and the school system has several STEM trucks. There's gonna be a STEM truck out there too. I don't think we've firmed up exactly what the times are gonna be yet, but there's gonna be stuff, for sure.
and then also with doing some outreach to businesses that are along this stretch, especially that newly improved block of 200 East Charles, some of the new businesses over there, just getting them to tag on and kind of having some more people at their front door who normally.
So the Regional Arts Center, once somebody actually applies to do the wine walk, they're gonna say, hey, would you like to pair up with one of our artists? They're gonna kind of handle that?
Yes,
We don't have to worry
so
about it. Okay.
just so y'all are aware of, how we are getting in information. So we're working with the Art Center for everything related to the wine and cheese walk. We went ahead and did an agreement that kind of laid out the rules for each of us. And they've prepared the ticket sales page, so you see that on their website up here. We're basically cross-promoting, and but they're maintaining and kind of working through all the, they're basically gathering all the information, so we're working together on that. And then the merchant cheese and wine stroll application will be through the Regional Arts Center as well, but it's linked on our website. We will have a separate registration for all the advertising, just for ease, because not every business is going to participate in the wine and cheese stroll. So we have 2 separate applications, but even if someone doesn't want to do the wine and cheese stroll, but they still want to host an artist, they can do that too. So we've got options for people. And so we're just going to be working together through that process to make sure that all of our bases are covered and our merchants are supported through all that transition, and that we don't miss anything with promoting their business.
All right. Picnic in the park.
The events committee didn't discuss this, but this is something that John wanted to add on the agenda, with kind of planning for our upcoming concerts. Before we maybe begin that discussion, we do have a picnic in the park scheduled for this Friday. We did have Mary's Wish lined up, but they decided to disband. So they alerted us of that on Monday, so we were able to secure a different musical act, and that was a fun adventure. So Zachary McLean and Nouveau Soul will be playing this Friday, the 23rd. And what was that? Yes. I mean, the weather's doing what it wants to do, but we'll just kind of see how that works. So this will be the final concert in our spring series with our sponsorship from North Oaks. You want to say?
Well, I was going to the one that they do in Ponchatoula. I don't know what do they call that one, Michelle? I don't know.
Live After 5.
The Live After 5 thing is like packed to the max, and I'm going, how are they getting all those people, and we're not getting all those people to our music thing? So I didn't know if it's the band that maybe their budget for their band, and they're having bands that have a bigger following.
I don't know.
Or, so like, should we do these less with maybe a little bit better budget for a band that has a following to get people out there? Or, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because they put us to shame kind of on their turnout. And I'm wondering, maybe we need to reach out and see what are they doing to do that, or?
Who puts those on?
I don't know.
city.
I guess they're city.
The city.
Oh, the city? Okay.
But like, I went, it was like packed. You could barely walk in their little square.
So, I don't know, I've never been to it, but I do know that downtown Ponchatoula does a lot of events. They are supported, all of the downtown businesses participate, and they have a lot of people who come and go to them. I don't know what the magic is, but I think it's that they're very consistent. I mean, they have like one thing after another almost over there.
I was told whatever band that it was, which it was like some kind of Cajun something, whatever, nobody that I'd follow, but I was told, oh, this band has like a big following, that's why, like, people come to see this band, you know? So I just didn't know if it's because we're choosing bands that choose to disband 5 minutes before the, you know, if we're paying for garage bands that, to kind of fill the air, but if we got maybe somebody that has a little bit of a following, and rather than spending $1,000, $1,500, if we spend $3,000, maybe do it less, but get a good band, like, you know, like, I'm just throwing that idea out there.
I don't know.
We're looking at their Facebook event page for one of their recent events, which was April 28th, and they don't seem to offer anything particularly special that we don't. They just say, bring your coolers and chairs and enjoy free entertainment for your family, which is kind of like what we do. And
Do they say who the entertainment is?
yeah, they list who the live music is, but, I mean, that could be obviously a factor, but they don't do anything any more special than we do.
I mean, they have a little bit, they put out string lights, they have a little bit more support of hosting the event, you know, like what it looks like.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I will say that we try to, just cost-wise, we try to stay in the $1,000, $1,500 range for bands because that's what's affordable. But if we were to try to get bigger acts, then we would have to pay for those bigger acts and offer some different amenities probably. Because we don't provide PA, the band brings in PA, so that's part of, you know, paying them a little bit of a lower rate because they have to load all that stuff in. So if we felt like it was in our best interest to add more resources to this event, then I think we'd have to look at the numbers to see what that looks like.
Maybe we need to do some research and find out what, you know, what's going on.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to just find out what are they doing. That is, I mean, because it's a major difference. I was like, there's a major difference, you know? Or do we not care? Do we not care if it's a lot of people or not, you know, if it's just, you know,
No, I think
neighborhood people?
Yeah.
Michelle talked about like doing more themed ones and also the partnerships, like how we did with the Southeastern Alumni Association. That seemed really great. Just kind of going more on that maybe in the future.
I feel like our staff is stretched so thin already that, at least in my opinion, if we're,
It's too much.
and this isn't a money, this isn't, I mean, we just do this as a free event for DDD, but, you know, if we're gonna focus on a hot dog stroll and then focusing on the other things that are not event related, I just personally think are more important. That's my opinion.
Something to think about. Any other thoughts?
Well, I do have one thought,
Okay. We're open to them.
and this is just my thought. Don't get mad at me. But, like, I know Strawberry Festival is like a massive thing for Ponchatoula. Those people, because when we talk about like, we can't call it a festival, it's not bringing money for the vendors or things like that. Those people are making a lot of money doing Strawberry Festival who live in that downtown. Not to say they will ever become a festival, but it's a smaller town than us that bring 300,000 people, that those stores, some of those stores make more money doing that festival than they do half the year. So I just want to, you know, I like events. I'm an event guy. I've built my business upon it. I think money can be made if it's done properly. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I don't think it's a DDD. I think if you wanted to have a festival in Hammond, that it needs to be
it's
like
more
a blues
involved
and
with-
barbecue.
Right.
It's a separate
Right,
thing.
nonprofit.
It is not our mission
Okay.
to do that. Our
Okay.
mission is to support the DDD and develop the DDD. It is not to do festivals. All we've talked about the last 2 years is scaling back on events and getting more to the heart of what economic development is.
Hard economic development.
Right.
Absolutely.
But is
Adding
it-
a festival is not our mission.
Is it part of our job, though, our mission, to pull in the other people to start doing that? You know what I mean? To get that,
Yeah, I mean.
you know, to get that, you know, I don't know.
That's what we kind of talked about, getting the, you know,
There's some really
part of the event
interesting
community, yeah.
models for event incubation that I've looked at. I mean, basically, organizations like us put out a grant opportunity of $10,000. You say, This is basically people get to pitch their event ideas, pitch their festival ideas, and maybe we pick a theme or whatever. But you give someone $1,000 to do an event in downtown from an idea of, you know, it may be something small, like we've got ideas of a film festival and a lights festival and all these really great things that I think many people would probably enjoy, but we at the DDD do not have the capacity to do that. So if we felt like we wanted to have more events, but wanted to approach it a little bit more strategically, like I've looked at models to try to do that, that provide money and resources basically to people who have the ideas and maybe don't realize how much events actually take, and maybe are a little bit naive, but you know, there's things I've looked at to try to see how we could do that, but it would have to be something that we've had unanimous kind of.
Well, and I guess that's where my, if it's not our job to throw events, but is there a job for economic development to make it possible for others to be able to do that for us, you know?
To give you an idea, the pay of the workload of event coordination is generally about 10% of what the revenue of the entire event brings in. So if it brings in $1 million, the event coordinator and the workload would be in perspective to that, and other way around. So I mean, that's just cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just kind of a discussion point in my thought process, you know? I just don't, because I do value these things. I do value the picnic in the park and stuff, and I'm always thinking, well, how can we get more people involved? And
Well, I think that's the core of the issue is getting more people involved to help us do that.
Right.
If that's what we really want, if, you know, we could go on and continue the discussion. I mean, you know, I think that there's always a balance to getting all of the areas of the work that we're trying to do. And I don't think that no events is the answer, but we really need to think about how we do it a little bit better. That doesn't just mean our staff is doing them.
Right.
And we're just having the same conversation.
okay.
Yeah.
That it?
But taking notes about picnic in the park, we'll do some research. It may also just need a little bit of a rebrand. I mean, you know, it's kind of looked the same for 3 years, and anyway.
Okay. Staff report?
There's a lot of things here. I'll just kind of hit on the high points. For Railroad Park, Cassie and I worked through a journey of trying to figure out the electrical situation. M&R will begin work tomorrow, and we'll more than likely have that done sometime midweek. We last discussed this. We realized we didn't have to do a bid or, you know, that whole process or have a board approval, so that will be completed very soon, which will be great because it continues to be an issue. We are placing the final order for our last benches, just trying to get these last messages on these plaques confirmed. So placing that order, and then general maintenance with the city has kind of been a struggle, but we are working on it through all the departments and making sure that everything's not just on Parks and Grounds. So if you happen to notice any issues with the park, just let me know and I try to follow up with them when I can. The water fountain and the fence are supposed to be completely fixed by the end of next week, which is what I've been told. That water fountain's really important to keep everyone hydrated. Farmers market update here. I won't go over all of that. One thing I will mention to the board, though, is that we had some issues with some businesses and vendor parking in high demand areas. So the parking mall that's directly across the tracks and the parallel parking that's on Kate. There's not much within my control to manage that, but as a gesture of just being good neighbors and trying to share the limited resource that is parking, basically told the vendors that only one vehicle can park in that area. If they have a truck or trailer or they're having more than one vehicle, then they need to park outside of that high demand area to share parking with market customers, business customers, and anyone. So it's an ongoing journey, this market.
Do we get the electrical outlets squared away?
That's what.
It
thing.
should be done by the end of this month. Yes, so we're getting 8 new circuits. Each outlet will have a dedicated circuit, so that will dramatically increase our capability and no longer be.
And what about the damaged, you may have said that already, maybe I zoned out, so
Yes, that should be done by the end of the month, too.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
The city is working on that. It's been an insurance claim. Everything's here. It's just a
Okay.
matter of them getting it on there.
And are they putting more of those things up,
More of what things?
the little protectors to prevent them from breaking the things? The skateboard stuff? Is that what we're talking about?
No, we're not talking.
No,
No.
the water fountain that got hit by
Okay,
a car.
gotcha, yes.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about, there was a bunch of breaks from the skateboard people where they did not put the,
That was at the stage, that was a
Oh, the
while back.
pavers.
yes, the
Yeah.
pavers, I'm sorry. There was
So-
one at the
Yeah.
stage and one by the DDD office. at
So
the
that
other
was,
side.
we paid for that to be completed as a part of the end of the warranty. So the contractor that we had, they went ahead and reinstalled all the ones that were an issue. Now, I have to go back and see, I don't think that they added additional skateboard guards. So if you'd like for me to get some quotes on that or see what that price
I
estimate.
mean, it's probably gonna happen again if they miss those spots, so maybe, wouldn't that be a good idea, or, I'm saying.
Public space management is what we signed up for with this park, that's all I know. Yeah, skateboard guards. And we've also tabled the conversation of cameras, so I'll look back into that too. I had something else related to the park. I can't remember. Do you have any other questions about the park? So like I said, picnic at the park this Friday. If you're in town, please come. I'm actually kind of excited to see what a summer turnout will be. I know it's hot, but I mean, there's kind of nothing else to do in town, so if people aren't out of town, I think it will be fun. Main Street updates, kind of see that there. Upcoming business funding opportunities. We did go ahead and include this brochure. So this is the funding opportunity that I mentioned probably months ago at this point, and it took them forever to get it online. But it's all related to Hurricane Ida damages. So even though that feels like it was forever ago, if any business had damages related to Hurricane Laura, Delta, Ida, or the May 2021 flood, then you should seriously look at this loan program.
So it's physical damages are revenue decline.
Yes. So
That's great.
even if your insurance, even if you got a payout from your insurance, that all goes into your eligibility criteria. So this is basically zero interest for whatever you would qualify for, and then 40% is forgiven. Now, this funding opportunity is through South Central Planning and Development Commission. They're working with our local Small Business Development Center to do all of the loan processing for Hammond and Tangipahoa-based businesses. There are millions of dollars available in loans. So last time I talked to the guy who's kind of leading the whole thing, he said that they're kind of, it obviously is an application, requires a process, but, that should not be a reason for someone not to take advantage of this opportunity.
This is awesome.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So we're going to be
fantastic.
putting this in a newsletter soon, kind of get this hot August stuff out, and it's been kind of difficult to manage all that. But this is a really great opportunity, and he said the biggest issue, I think, is that people, since they think all this stuff was so far back, that they're not eligible for it, but dig up that claim paperwork, and you'd be surprised what you can get.
And this doesn't matter if you got insurance to fix it.
The eligibility criteria, you can have all of that in your application to be eligible. Whatever your payout was may affect what your loan amount will be, but in terms of qualifying, all of that can be put in there. And they look at all that qualifying amount to determine what your eligibility amount is. So, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Other item that is out there right now is Louisiana Main Street Restoration Grant. This is an annual opportunity through the state and that we are able to get because we're a Main Street organization. This grant is more for properties that are in really, bad shape. They're more of like revitalization grants, so not just like general maintenance, but something in a scope of work that would revitalize and rehabilitate a property. It's kind of what that's for. And we have several that would be eligible for that, and I do always give the opportunity to the property owners that would benefit from it most. But it is up to them to take advantage of it. We've got some interns coming in the fall, which we're excited about. We have 2 summer ones right now. We've been doing these orientations with Southeastern over the past couple of weeks, and the total for the summer will be 9, and we get to talk to 500 parents of incoming students at Southeastern every Wednesday, and we distribute our dining, shopping guides that we have, and just give them a pitch of downtown Hammond. It's been really fun to do that with the Tangibo Chamber and Tangi Tourism, and kind of building that partnership with Southeastern. Something that I found out today was that the city was awarded a grant for Morrison Park, which is that small little, the Hammond's smallest park, which I think is really fun. They awarded a grant there, and so we're going to have some planning meetings to see what that scope of work looks like. I think it's $25,000 from AARP. So lots of fun things in the works.
And then you updated the, that dine, shop, stay and play,
Yes.
for sure. Good work on that. I know that's been,
We
some people have been asking
expanded
about
it
that
a
for a
little
while.
bit.
Yeah.
It's on our website. Let me see here. Obviously, we can't put all of our businesses on there, so we keep it to shop, eat, you know, like cultural kind of experiences, play, and then some of our salon and spa services. And you know, right now we basically have it as like it's a legal paper size. So that's how it's kind of printing. But lodging options, we link to the Downtown Hammond event calendar, which is something that I know that Localville doesn't really work for our business owners, so we're trying to figure out how we make that a little bit better for them so that we get all their events on there. Second page is not loading for some reason, but yeah, it's bigger and better, honing in on our Main Street Award win, and that's what we are giving out right now. And we try to update that. I mean, it seems like we have to do it once a month almost because there's a lot of activity happening right now, but you know, it's always a great resource to put in someone's hands and kind of point them in the right direction.
Yep. All right, well, nothing else, we can adjourn. I'll call for a meeting to be adjourned. Boom. All, that's all in favor?